Good morning, people. Welcome to the Morning View. Welcome to United View. Happy, what day is it? Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Yes, it's Happy Tuesday. Big up to yourselves if you're on your way to work, you're dropping the kids off, you're chilling at home, you're off work, you're recovering from any illnesses or operations or anything, whatever it is going on in your life. Big up to you. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. More to get into about the takeover. So Jim Ratcliffe's Glazer strategy. And some quotes yesterday from Kasper Schmeichel. Anyone who watched Monday Night Football or didn't watch it but has seen the quotes was doing his best sort of PR for his boss, for his current boss who pays his wages.
Yeah.
So interesting to hear what he had to say. But Sir Jim Ratcliffe's Glazer strategy, Owen. I mean,
yeah. Let's talk, Flex.
Let's talk, because there is a Glazer strategy. So Jim Ratcliffe has a Glazer strategy, right? Now, in reference to kind of like what Marcel was saying yesterday, and some other people I've seen online saying, I saw Simon Jordan going down this route as well. Obviously,
was it vociferous?
It was vociferous. It was literally. I can't even think of any other words he says. He's being an absolute Burke.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say Burke. You were going to say Burke. Was he being an absolute Burke?
Yeah, you know, Manchester United fans, there's a multitude, and multifaceted way of buying a football club. So if they want it and they don't want the Glazers to be in control, why don't they raise the best part of £6 billion?
It's a absolute gargantuan hypocrisy.
Simon Jordan. But anyway, he was having his say. And basically, look, me and Owen were talking, saying, look, well, so Jim Ratcliffe has a Glazer plan. He has a Glazer strategy, right? And it's going to be A or B. Now, don't get me wrong. I think it's A. But there's basically two strategies it could be. And let us know what you think about this, right? His strategy, A, is, well, I don't have enough to get the whole thing. I don't care about being a Man United fan and what I said about the Manchester back in Man United, all that stuff. I just know that I can get the club by keeping the Glazers here. It means I can get control. So if I have to do that for me to get control of the club, then I will. I don't care. The B plan could be, and this is, again, I don't think it is, but this is what it could be that he has to do it like this at this point because he can't get them all out right now. And in the future, he could potentially buy out the rest of the Glazers' ownership. Now, that to me, I think is very unlikely. I don't think it's that. But whichever way it is, he does have a strategy for the Glazers. But the strategy is, and it's also changed from what it originally was at the start, which didn't mention anything about the Glazers, which didn't mention anything about them staying here. We're only finding this out now. So it is actually quite fascinating, though, because he has to navigate the Glazers. He wants to take control of this club. He wants full control of the club, but doesn't want the full percentage of the club, which, okay, in business, you can do that. But the very people who made this thing what it is have to stay. So, but we obviously all want the Glazers to go. What my question is there a world where Sir Jim Ratcliffe could take the club and do that and try and phase the Glazers out slowly? Or is this what we all think it is, which we're all on the same page with? Mate, you're a liar. Do you know what I mean? You don't have the money to do what you say you want to do. So actually, this is just an easy way for you to get control of the club.
This is what was interesting last night with what Marcel was saying, wasn't it? Is that in reality and in the grand scheme of things, he's not technically wrong, right? He's not technically wrong because obviously at the beginning of all of this, if you'd have given us the option, which was, hey, the Glazers, they're not in full control anymore. Someone else comes in, they're in control. We'd have said, oh, we're desperate. right? We still are. But yes, okay, yeah, we'll take that. But now that we've gone through this process, and now that we've seen what the other options are, we shouldn't have to settle for it's better than nothing. I'm almost uncomfortable settling. Well, better than nothing. It's better than nothing, isn't it? Yeah, but at the same time, again, they're still there. They're still part of the problem. And as I said last night, I've almost come to terms with the fact that, you know, these people who have leached on the club and bled it dry to the point whereby they've had to explore strategic alternatives because they can't afford to build a stadium or a training ground or invest anything. They haven't invested anything in a long time anyway, if ever. But they've had to enter this process because there's no money to do anything anymore. They're going to be really heavily compensated for that. But on top of being paid, again, we don't know exact figures and terms and all this kind of stuff because NDAs, and there is a lot of speculation with all of this going on. But let's say £5 billion for, they own 69%. So let's say 50, they get 5 billion for 50. And then, according to those reports, if it was written in to this deal that in years 1 or 2, they could then cash in their shares at any point to Sir Jim Ratcliffe / Ineos for a guaranteed price. My worry would be then, okay, fine, they're sticking around. They're not going to take any dividends because they can't anymore. It has to get board approval. So you go, well, because I've seen that pushback. Well, they're not getting dividends. Never said they were getting dividends, right? Mm. But at the same time, it's almost worse because with when they take out dividends every year, was it usually like what? Is it like 7 million, something like that? It's something like that. It could be okay. Is it at any point? Oh yeah, I want to cash in my my shares now. There'd be about 20%. If you're buying 50% for 5 billion, let's say it's about 2 billion. How does that all work? I mean, I'm no business expert, but how does that work? Is that already figured out with JP Morgan and Morgan Sachs? Or is that going to impact Manchester United's future plans at any point, knowing that there's a 1 billion bill or 2 billion bill that can come due at any point? How does that affect the future? You know, it's all these kind of things because you can't. The overarching point, Flex. You cannot trust them. You cannot trust them. The Glazers, and Kenny spoke about it last night. Is what kind of foot are we getting off with this owner who, like you said in his initial manifesto, mentioned nothing about keeping the original owners around.
It's true, and another thing with Sir Jim is like. I'm not saying the Qataris have ever owned a football club as well, like the Qataris that are trying to buy Man United. But obviously, the job that he's done at Nice it's not. Do you know what I mean? It's not amazing. Do you know what I mean? It's not something to ride home about. You know, the F1 situation. It's not amazing.
Like I remember it was Julian. How do you say his last name? Is it Laurent?
Julian Laurent. Yeah.
Laurent, the French football expert, and he was journalist guy. And I remember when the interest from Sir Jim Ratcliffe first came around, Sky Sports
on the ESPN, wasn't he?
The ESPN and Sky Sports did a piece of him. They asked him, you know, how's he doing, or what's the situation like with Nice in France? And he sort of said, well, you know, not great, not bad, and the fans are a bit unhappy with it because one of the key things, and this was really stood out to me, is he brought in Sir Dave Brailsford, who's like his right-hand man, and he's been his right-hand man in kind of everything he's done, particularly in this sort of sporting world with, you know, Team Sky and all that kind of stuff. He was he's got a cycling background, and he brought in a guy who had success in a cycling team into a football team, and everyone at Nice went, this guy's got nothing to do with football. He's not a football guy. What? Why you bring your friend in? And I was like, wait a minute. We've lived through that, Flex. We've lived through that at United of bringing in your friends.
Woodward,
or bringing in people that don't have football backgrounds and running a football club, you know. And if he were to bring in Sir Dave Brailsford, which had, again, reports out there suggesting he was going to be a key part of it, are we going around in circles? Like that's the same thing over and over and over again. And again, I look at it and go, yes, you know, it's better than nothing, but how much better? How much better than nothing, you know? And again, we shouldn't have to just be, I don't know, throughout this whole process to get your hopes up so high, you know, and even if it was the point of, you know what it is, Flex? I mean, I just don't want the Glazers around at all. That's it.
Exactly, because whilst the problem is whilst, and this is what people from outside the club, the fan base don't understand. You know, okay, it's easy to say, well, they're loosening their grip. You know, oh, surely you'd prefer that. And like you said, there may be a day, because let's face it, the way this bid looks like it may be going, there could be a day that, you know, Sir Jim Ratcliffe there could be a day quite soon where Sir Jim Ratcliffe gets control of this club. And then we have to then talk about it in that essence. But like you said, until whilst there's still another viable option, I feel really uncomfortable just giving up and saying, well, you know what? I'm the sort of person of cross that bridge when you come to it. That's how I see things. I know, like Marcel's angle. And listen, look, in the interest of fairness, Marcel, I know we had a laugh and we all have a laugh. And some people have said, look, I agreed with Marcel. You know, you're just laughing at him. No, look, in general, I understand his way of thinking of why he is going down that route. Marcel's personality and the way he sees things and the way he wants to like unpick the situation is probably going to go to Sir Jim Ratcliffe. So I'm going to be ahead of the curve, like KG said, and I'm going to look at what the positives could be out of this situation. Yeah. Whereas, you know, in my opinion, and well, Owen, you share that same opinion, and I know a lot of you guys will. Not everybody, though. Not everybody. I'm like, well, no, there's another option on the table. And actually, I don't want to... The thought of the Glazers being here, I'm always going to assume the worst until I see something different. So if Sir Jim Ratcliffe does get this bid in this way, with him keeping the Glazers in the background, I know you could say, oh, but it's a new start, it's something new. I'm going to assume the worst until I see anything different. And what I mean by that is I'm going to think, well, they're just going to keep taking money from the club. This is Jim Ratcliffe guy. How deep are his pockets? I want to see what he does with the infrastructure. Where's the plans for the training ground? Where's the plans for the stadium? What does not just our first transfer window look like? Because actually, that's just a way to get fans on side. We've had money available under Glazers before in summer in certain windows. Not all of them, because some of them have been disgusting. But sometimes you can easily appease the fans by getting a couple of players. I want to see what it looks like window upon window. When it gets to January, we need something. Are we going to be told we have to get 4 million for Weghorst because we ain't got no money? You know, when it gets to is it year on year investment? So I'm always going to go on the pessimistic side if the Glazers stay with Sir Jim, because we've been burnt by these guys the whole way forward. Why on earth? Why should I as a Man United fan? Why should we as Man United fans who have seen these leeches, these parasites, these vampires suck the living daylights out of us, right? And know that they're still around, and then all of a sudden go, well, you know what? They're here with somebody else now, so the strategy could be different. Why should we do that?
Well, and also, people saying it's a fresh start, but it's not. It's not a fresh start because
it's not 100% fresh start.
No, exactly, because it's not a clean slate, you know, and that's what people are talking about. Is it it's not a clean slate because again they would still be there in the background, just purely leeching at that point. No football in control, just purely leeching, and also that the debt. I mean, and this almost gets lost in all of this, isn't it? The debt that's already there, that's not getting wiped out. That's staying the same. There's been no commitment. There's been nothing in any of the manifestos that, oh, you know, some of the existing financial issues you have,
we'll start paying it off.
We're going to wipe that out. No,
no mention of it at all.
The only thing that has been concrete that you know Ineos wants to do is they want to buy out a majority stake in United. Anything apart from that is almost hearsay. So, like, again, there's been no firm commitment of that debt that's been there for like nearly 2 decades, that the interest payments are ginormous. It's nearly £1 billion in debt. Yeah, we're not really going to take anything to that. Yeah, we're going to look into doing the stadium. Yeah, we're going to look into training ground and you know, and players and transfers and all that kind of stuff. But some of the real core aspects of the issue, i.e. the Glazers are still going to be even in a minority stake and the debt's still going to be there. That to me doesn't feel very... That's a start that doesn't feel very fresh. That's a start that stinks. And also, once again, it's based on... I always go back to... I will always go back to, and apologies if I'm being repetitive, but I will always go back to that opening press release about putting the Manchester back in Manchester United and a fan-centric approach to ownership, because a fan-centric approach to ownership does not have people who are the issue still around, even in a minority circumstance. And 2, one of the key aspects, i.e. the aspect that got us to this point, the debt and the financial issues, they're still going to be there. On top of more loans being purchased or loans being accepted to purchase this club. Granted, they're not against Manchester United, they're against Ineos, but who knows how that deck of cards could fall in the future as well.
100%. Lil Yo-Yo says, keep going, Fleck Altani. Put up the bid and buy the club. Listen,
You got to buy some more mattress sauce, haven't you? Like, you got to get some more mattress sauce. Yeah.
Oh, mate, honestly. Byron Hendricks, big up to you, says the Qataris or Sir Jim has no power over this deal. It's not Sir Jim or Qatari's fault. These strategies are required for them to seize control. Basically, because the Glazers are who they are, you can't bypass this because they are who they are and they're horrible. Basically, to put it in basic text, basic words, they're very, very shrewd businessmen, aren't they?
Because I've seen that too, by the way. I've seen that too when people say like, you know, I forget the exact terms of it, but it was sort of like, well, it's not your business, it's not your company, so ultimately you can sit here and stomp your feet and be angry, but there's nothing you can do about it. And that obviously is true. You and I, Flex, we cannot, you know, technically do anything about it. But once again, that doesn't mean you have to sit there and be content and just throw your hands up and be like, "Well, I can't do anything about it, so I'm just going to sit here and take it." You're allowed to voice and say, "This is bullshit.
Yeah,
what's going on? This is bullshit."
Yeah,
and just it's incredibly frustrating.
It is, and look, someone said it there. What we're going to do? Keep moaning every day, basically.
Yes, I will. It's a disgrace and it's a cheat.
It cheats, yeah. I think, you know, Cabs, big up to Cabs. You know, Cabs is actually talking with DJ in the chat, actually, just going back and forth. So it's nice we get at Nice, because basically DJ saying what's he done at Nice, and what Cabs is saying is Nice were fighting for relegation. The time Sir Jim Ratcliffe took over the club recently. Nice is fighting for Europa League positions. It's different from Man United. Let's have patience, bro. That's just a conversation going on between them. So Cabs is one of, you know, one of some who think, you know what, well, this has got to happen. There's got to be something that's going to happen. We won't like it either way, because it's not going to be Qatar. So we're going to have to be patient with Sir Jim Ratcliffe and see what he does. And look, in the end, when Sir Jim Ratcliffe gets control of the club and the Glazers are still here, there will be a conversation like that. And to be fair to Cabs, you're more willing to have that now. You're more willing, while we still technically don't know yet, just the media reports are saying that Jim Ratcliffe is winning the race. He hasn't won the race. He's winning the race.
According to some reports.
According to some reports, you know, other reports are saying the Qataris are saying, listen, we put an undisclosed bid in, mate. It's the top thing. So let's wait and see. And you're not really hearing anything out of Qatar. You know, I know people talk about NDAs and stuff like that. Meanwhile, Sky coincidentally, listen, it might be coincidentally, it might be on purpose. Sky coincidentally have one of Ineos's players in Kasper Schmeichel on Monday Night Football, waxing lyrical, and not one footballing reason as to why he's amazing. Just that he's present and he supports Man United and he's a good guy. Like,
do you want me to read out the quote, Flex? Do you want me to read out what Kasper Schmeichel said?
Yes, please.
So Kasper Schmeichel was asked about Sir Jim Ratcliffe on Monday Night Football last night, and he said, and I quote, "One of the biggest reasons that I joined Nice was because of Ineos, because of Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Sir Dave Brailsford. Their vision and how they want to evolve their sports, because they've been successful in not just business, but every other sporting venture that they've thrown their investment at. With Manchester United in particular, Jim is a big United fan, and I think that speaks to a lot of United fans, someone coming in that cares deeply about the club. From my own experience at Nice, he's a man that's present, comes to games, a guy that's knowledgeable about football, but a vast knowledge about performance in general. He has great people like Dave Brailsford working for him, who again is present. I think that's the main thing of any club that I've ever played at. Look at Leicester as an example. The owners are present. There's not this divide between the people who own the club and the people who are there on a daily basis. I think obviously I'm biased in terms of hoping that Ineos are the preferred bidders, but let's wait and see." Now, to be honest, I push back a little bit on the whole they're present thing, because let's look at some owners that have been present this season. Todd Bowley. He goes to every game, you know, and obviously he talks about Leicester and obviously their owners. I know there's been change in that, but like, look what they're there on the table. Like, the present don't mean nothing. You know what I mean? In reality. And obviously, like you said, he's going to be biased because he's
What more can he say than that? He's never
it's
going to
like,
say, I'll tell you what, yeah. I see why they want the Qataris.
He's terrible. He's rubbish. He's rubbish. But cheers for the paycheck, Jim.
Yeah.
No, obviously
he's never going to say that. And obviously, I do feel, I think we would be naive because, again, when you don't have factual information about stuff, you can't make absolute comments that are absolute in entirety, but you can make educated guesses. I think would be naive to think that, considering that Sir Jim Ratcliffe is obviously the British-based business, etc., with the British media, that stem of either information or briefing or PR is right there, front and center, and being fed to us via one way or another. But yet the Qatari side, Daniel Levy is at Spurs too, exactly. Sheffield, for us, but from the Qatari side, we're not getting that consistent flow of information. Journalists talking a lot about the Qatari side, in anything positive. It just isn't happening. Now, is that because their bid is as bad as they say it is? The British media say it is. Is it because the Qataris, way of doing things is as bad as they say it is? Or is it because there's a favorability towards, the British side? And not even that, there's just more access into spokespeople from that side, from journalists who may, what's the chances of the British media in the links and sources world of knowing someone who knows the guy at Ineos, or knowing someone who knows someone who knows the sporting director at Nice? Or do you know what I mean? There's more, I think, because of the part of the world it's in. There's more chances that leaks and briefs and information is going to get given to the British media from Ineos than the strained relations or relations that haven't even formed yet between this part of the world and the media and the Middle East. Because let's face it, I was at the World Cup. I saw it firsthand. I saw the way that things are portrayed versus the way that a lot of things are. And I'm not going to say that, again, this is maybe going off on a bit of a tangent, but my point is valid. I'm not saying that when I was there for the World Cup, that is the truest, purest form of one part of the world, because you're going there in isolation when it's very conditioned and all the eyes are on it. I get that. But some of the things I read about Qatar were absolutely disgusting. If I'm just being honest, that I saw that with my own eyes. So again, back to my point is, I think we'll be naive to say that there isn't any media bias in this, in any way. Do you know what I mean? To sway fans in any direction, but more so in the Sir Jim Ratcliffe situation, because there's more links and connections to that side.
Yeah, well, I think we've certainly, as people, you and I, and others here on the channel that have covered every minutiae of this from the start, from the beginning, certainly over the last 5 days, I think we've heard more from the side or from people inside the Ineos camp than we've probably heard throughout the entirety of this process, really. Previously, a lot more of the reports are based about, Sheikh Jassim believes that his bid will be successful, blah, blah, blah. We haven't really heard that much from, inside Sir Jim Ratcliffe's camp, apart from that, apart from maybe his sort of wider general plans. But particularly over the last 5 days, to your point, it's kind of roles reverse, hasn't it? Because we're hearing so much of, plans, strategies, thoughts, etc. from Ineos. But we really, apart from the dispute from Qatar over the weekend, which was, we don't know what those reports are about, we think it's nonsense, we really haven't heard anything at all, really, have we? That's really, about it. And again, maybe that will come. Maybe that will come over the next week. Either way, look, we're heading towards a decision being made. I mean, it was put out there, wasn't it, once those bids went in, the third and final round bids last Friday, that over the next 7 to 10 days, the Glazers would pick a preferred bidder. And you can look at it two ways. You can look at it as all of the noises and all of the reports over the last few days suggest that Sir Jim Ratcliffe is the front runner, or you could look at it the other way and say, maybe the people that are being the most quiet about it are the most confident, because they don't need to sort of scream and shout about how well they're doing. So maybe that's part of it. Maybe I'm reaching towards that, but I don't know. It's just, I understand the fatigue surrounding it too, though, because it's draining, isn't it? And not only is it draining because it's so elongated, so long, and people are so, it's been such a long, drawn out process, but two, you're so tired and fatigued about it because every day it's a different story, isn't it? Every day it's a different story. Every day it's
Minna was saying yesterday, isn't it? She's like, what, I don't care. But she doesn't not
but you
care.
Do. But you do. Yeah. But you do. Yeah. You do. But again, it's sort of like, you're just being slapped around the face with it all the time, aren't you? That's the problem. And every time your hopes, regardless of what side you're on, even if you were pro Sir Jim or pro Qatar, one day you think they're going to win it. The next day they're out of the race. Next day they're going to win it again. So it is tiring. And just from a club point of view, obviously the future of the club is the most important thing. And we can get dogged down by the minutiae of transfers and preparation, all that kind of stuff. But we're at the stage now where it's the 2nd of May. It is guaranteed it's going to affect the start of the season at this point. There's no way it doesn't impact preparation for next season, transfer strategy for next season, because people like Ten Hag, John Murtough, even Richard Arnold, they'll be going into the summer thinking, we think this might be going in this direction, but could be going in another direction, and we just don't know. We don't know how much money is available. We don't know what our new owners want to do. What's their manifesto? What are they looking to make a big splash, or are they looking to get their own people in? People like even Richard Arnold might be like, I don't know if I'm going to have a job in a couple.
Well, they might want to get rid of him. Exactly.
Yeah,
might want to get rid of him. A few super chats here. MUFC says Qatar will win this. We'll win. This is just a racist media stunt. Lil Yo-Yo says the Ineos press run has been something else, right? And a couple more, I'm sure. I wanted to get them on screen, but I'll just go to the list. That's fine. Tabislo, member for 10 months, big up Tabislo, says we have the opportunity to make our voice heard. This decision will define us as a club the next 10 to 15 years. Don't let anyone silence you. Glazers out. Agreed. And Cobra says, so Jim Ratcliffe must know the fans want the Glazers out. Coming up with a plan, allowing the Glazers to stay is disrespecting the fans. Yeah, and like I said, thinking forward, the only thing I can see, if he's going to try and spin this, let's try and think forward. Yeah, let's do something like what Marcel is doing and think forward. Let's paint a picture that Sir Jim Ratcliffe takes over the club, yeah? Right?
Yeah.
And the Glazers stay in this small capacity. Like all of this is true, and these are the conditions that he takes the club.
Yeah.
What does his his opening address to the fans or something? Because also what he can't do is
say, oh yeah, I didn't want to keep them, but it is what it is.
Do you know what I'm saying? Or don't worry about them. There's plans to phase them out in due course or whatever. This person's annoying me. Sorry. There's plans to get the club in its full capacity. Like how would that have to come from like sources that would claim, although Sir Jim Ratcliffe maintains this percentage or the Glazers maintain, it is thought that he will eventually buy the Glazer, but he can't put out a strong manifesto and say, like you just said there, I don't really want them. I just had to do it because of that. I know no one wants them, but I can't see how that gets addressed. It's only time, and then all of a sudden something pops up. Oh, Glazers are selling their shares. Oh, Jim Ratcliffe has bought it off them, because he can't say. So we're never really going to know for a long time.
No, and I saw some people also pointing out to prior to his first official bid going in. This was last summer. This was August of 2022. When you remember when it was actually an Ineos spokesperson spoke to, I believe it was the Times at the time, and it was the first time he said he was interested in purchasing United, but the club wasn't for sale, and Joel and Avram are good people, blah blah blah. And he said that he was interested in buying a stake in Manchester United with a view to taking full control of the club. Now, some people pointed that out to me and said, well, see, he's just doing what he always said he was going to do from the beginning. But I kind of push back on that too, because if he purchases, say, 50% stake in Manchester United, he already has full control of the club. He has majority control of the club. Maybe there's some, people disputing full control, like eventually he wants to buy everything. But I don't think he's ever wanted to buy everything, has he? He's just wanted to have the majority control. That's always what his idea has been. And look, we would have put those provisos in there so that eventually, he can have the Glazers everything the Glazers had, which is the 69%. But is he ever going to want 100% of Manchester United, or is it always going to be just the majority? It's still going to be on the New York Stock Exchange. All of the other minority shareholders, they're still going to retain their shares as well, because from the Qatar bid, that was another part of the due diligence, was that they said it was going to take, I think it was 4 weeks to complete the transaction of purchasing the Glazers shares, and then an additional 6 weeks to complete the transaction of purchasing everyone else's shares, because of course, remember, they want to buy everything 100% and then take the company private. So this is why I say this will affect the start of the season, because there's still a lot of, like I said, due diligence that still needs to be done. That's the problem as well.
Yeah, it's not. This isn't something that's going to happen fairly quickly, is it? And when you're trying to plan for next season, which Erik ten Hag has been doing for ages, forever, because he knows for next season. Now's where you're really getting to the point of, you do need to pick up the phone and call Daniel Levy, or representatives of Harry Kane, and say, okay, what's this going to take? What's this deal look like? And they go, okay, well, are you going to be able to pay 110? Not quite ready yet. Can I call you back in a little bit? I just need to see what's going on.
I've got to pick up the phone to 2 people and check, hey, if you purchased a club, would we have that amount of money available? Cheers. If you purchased a club, would we have this money available? You know what I mean? That kind of stuff too.
Or part of it. The third phone to the Glazers, because they still currently hold everything. So say, actually, exactly. Are you happy for us to, I don't know if you're going to be here in your entirety, you might have a lesser stake, but are you happy for us to use what's in the kitty, or what you was planning to put in, which was probably nothing, but are you happy for us to use that, Avram and Joel? Like, if you're John Murtough and Richard Arnold, you have to speak to the Glazers and say, well, Joel, Avram, Erik really wants Harry Kane. Daniel Levy's told us it's 100 million. It's 110 million, whatever it is. Yeah, stupid money, whatever. What can we do? Well, the Glazers ain't going to give shit. And they're going to say, listen, mate, we're trying to negotiate how we, get more money or sell this part of the club. So, sorry. Don't know.
Yeah, and also, I mean, the story was out there yesterday from the Telegraph saying that both, Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Sheikh Jassim, they're already asking for, okay, if I'm the preferred bidder, can you give me control quickly? Because we don't know how involved they're going to be in these processes. You look at Todd Boehly. Todd Boehly's literally the one negotiating and buying players. So I'm not saying that Sir Jim Ratcliffe would be that for Manchester United, or Sheikh Jassim would be, but different owners have different managerial styles, don't they? Or ownership styles of how they would own the club. We don't know how involved in the minutiae of, say, transfers they would be. What if, right, hypothetically, let's say Sheikh Jassim, what if he goes, I don't want Harry Kane. I don't want us to buy Harry Kane.
Yeah. Or Sir Jim Ratcliffe says it.
Or Sir Jim Ratcliffe. You know what I mean? I don't, but these are legitimate things. These would be things that, that of course the owner would have conversations with the hierarchy at Manchester United, which would include the manager. Okay, who are you? Who do you want to get?
Who do you want? Talk to us.
All that kind of stuff. Yeah, but they need to take place. That's why, because to give credit to Sir Jim Ratcliffe in this essence, if yesterday's reports were accurate, that's why he wants control over transfers now, because he's not naive enough to think that he does have a football club, so he realizes how long it takes to get certain deals done, specifically at the level of Manchester United.
Exactly,
he realizes that the clock's already ticking on that.
And actually, really, it means that I think if anyone comes, whoever it is who comes in. We're talking we're right near the end of the season. I have a few games left to play. This isn't going to get sorted within the next week or two, is it? This is going to be another month or two. I think personally, I think maybe even another couple of months to actually have the person in the seat. You know what I mean?
What you're saying? So April, May, June. What you're saying that the new owner is in seat, he's got the keys, like you bought a house and they go, here's the keys. You reckon that's July?
I don't see that happening until July. Yeah, now we're at the last stages, and it's leaning towards Sir Jim Ratcliffe. It's picking up pace, and it looks like he's winning the race. My own hypothesis is that we won't see them. Get the keys to the new house until the team's just about to go on tour, some bullshit like that. And if that does happen, it's like Sir Jim Ratcliffe. He can't really come in, and I know he can because it'll be his club, but come in straight away get rid of Richard Arnold, you probably have to keep them there for one window because they've been putting in the.
Well, look at Todd Burley. Todd Burley came in, and then the directors pet a check, and they had to they got gone eventually, you know. But they were, this is what was crazy is Czech and I forget the other woman's name, but they were already involved. They were still doing their work and transfer business, and then they go, and then no, you go, and then other people come in, but they didn't come in for a while, and it was staggered and all this kind of stuff.
It could be a mess. It could be a real mess.
It could, and the transfer window opens up. I think it's June 10th. We're about a month away. Let's say we're about 4 weeks away. From
you think the ownership could be done within a month?
No.
In this hot seat,
keys in hand.
Keys in hand, walking in.
Office, walk in with your boxes,
changing the pictures,
hanging the pictures up, putting new plants in, all that kind of stuff.
When
in
do
a
you
month,
think? Beginning of the season, or you think July as well? Surely beginning of the season, isn't it?
I mean, well, they were saying 7 to 10 days from Friday that they'd have a preferred bidder. So let's say Friday. What date would it be on Friday? The 5th. Not for the beginning of the transfer window, no. I don't think so. I don't see that. No,
that would be hard. Big up to Duma. I don't want to offend you by mispronouncing your first name, so I'm just going to go with Duma. So thank you for the super chat. And Duma says, how can we as fans say #Glazers out and then rationalize keeping them at the club? There's no new start as long as they are here. Exactly, at the moment. And that's what Owen was basically touching on and what we've been saying. It's like, all right, cool. There is going to be a point when a decision is made either way, and then that's where we have to attack it then. But whilst we can be loud and, not settle, we will. Sorry, we won't settle. Super chats from Durain. Durain says, Succession playing out IRL.
In real life.
Yeah. Succession playing out in real life, yeah.
Yeah, well, and this was kind of what Marcel was touching on last night. He said, you can't equate family and football and family and business. But this is part of the problem with this is because there's 6 siblings, 4 of which do not want anything to do with Man United anymore and want to sell, and 2 that don't. That literally is succession in real life.
And Jim Ratcliffe, he's an older man. He's got kids.
Yeah, there's part, and to be honest, and even from the Qatar point of view, Sheikh Jassim, that his father did an interview and he was like, I don't even know about buying a football club, to be honest. I don't think it's good business, it's very interwoven rather. I mean, it is playing out in real life, and we
Byron says that option for the Glazers to stay in case the Glazers don't want to leave is better. And if he brings football people to run the club, it would be better. So a little bit of positivity from Byron there saying, look, it is better than nothing. If they're not making the decisions and somebody better makes the decisions and gets the right people in place, then they're out of the fold in terms of the day-to-day running of the club, which has been shocking under their leadership. Obviously, yes, they will get to take money out of the club, not as much as they used to because they wouldn't be majority. But Byron's basically saying it's something. It's something.
Flex, talk to me. All right, then about percentages. Mm-hmm. Where your
I don't know. Hold on. I ain't that good at maths, mate. What? Don't put me on the spot here. Don't ask me to work out any percentages.
Okay, about where you think, and maybe we can get a poll in the chat in just a second. I'll put one in.
Yeah.
Of where you think this is actually going to go. Then, as of today, what's your percentage of going? Yeah, it's probably going to be Sergio. And what's your percentage of going? It still could be Qatar. It still could be Sheikh Jassim.
Do you really want to know the answer to that question?
I'm going to put poll in the chat as well.
Where I think I actually seriously, and this is going to be really negative, I think 90%.
Really?
Yeah, I do. Maybe even 95, bro.
Wow.
That's how negative I feel about it. Look, some people Lil Yo puts 50-50, 60-40. I'm down bad. I feel like this is perfect for the Glazers, exactly what they wanted. I just think, my personal opinion, I think it's over, mate. I think it's going to go to Sir Jim Ratcliffe. I really do. And I know I hope I'm wrong. I do, but I'm just being honest of what I think is going to happen based off of what what's going on. Nicolaj says it's the media flex. Don't buy into the narrative.
I was going to say, is that just because of what's come out over the last sort of 4 or 5 days?
It is, yeah. And technically, you know what? I'll be honest. Yeah, I am getting bogged down by the media. Maybe I should be a little less, willing to buy into it. But it does seem very overwhelming. That's why
it's tough not to. It's tough not to, isn't it? Especially when you've got so many people saying similar kind of things. But this is an atypical kind of story because, as I point out before, that this is the same group of people who, look, I'm not like slagging off the journalists or anything like that, because the people that have been reporting on it have been doing a good job and reporting lots of different bits of information and a lot of contrasting information. But this is still the same group of people that went for the second round. Bids are in. They're both in world record bids. And then like 2 hours later, they went, actually, no bids are in. We got that. We got that wrong, or people said the bids have got in. So it's not out of the realm. It's not out of the realm of possibility that some of the stuff that has been put out there isn't exactly completely accurate. I'm like you, not so much completely like 90 in the 90 percentile range or anything like that. But I would think that definitely there has been movement over the last sort of 4 or 5 days to indicate that Sir Jim Ratcliffe is the front runner, or he's become the favorite because he has, and it doesn't take a genius to figure out. He's offered a more attractive deal to the Glazers, hasn't he? Give you money that you want, and you can stick around, and you've got guaranteed additional sort of cash in potential.
And even like I'm saying, away from the media just bias or whatever you want to call it, if we just look at the facts of what reputable big outlets have said about what Sir Jim Ratcliffe's bid is to stay, away from smearing Qatar, let's leave that a second. Let's focus on what his bids actually are or is. And it is true that technically, in the mathematical term, like Owen was talking about, if they're offering what they're offering for what they're trying to get, 51% or something.
Well, those numbers are kind of sort of estimated, aren't they? Because the Glazers own 69, but if they're going to stick around, they would imply that Sir Jim Ratcliffe's not going to be purchasing 69. It might, but it still have to be a majority.
So for him to purchase a majority for the 4 billion, or 3 billion, or whatever it is that he's offering, and for Qatar to want 100% of it for the world record fee that they're putting up, it does mean that Sir Jim's bid would value the club higher if he were to try and purchase all of it. But it's a technicality. But for the Glazers, they don't see that as value for money. They see it. They would see it for value for money, for being able to stay and give up, not a little bit of their thing, the majority of their thing, but not all of it though. But not all of it, and still retain that, and then can sell that, like Owen said, for another 2 billion later on down the line, plus still getting the 3 or 4 billion, whatever, 4 billion ish, plus a bit more from Ineos now. Yeah. Now they get that now for the majority bit, and get to hold on to 2 billion's worth of shares. Like that, that's them actually getting 6 billion.
Yeah.
And then the bigger problem is like, and then that's go back to the Sir Jim Ratcliffe thing, which is why it's dodgy. Where's he finding the money from for the new stadium? Where's he going to get new money from for the training ground? How's he going to keep putting in money for transfers? So that's why it's worrying, because it seems like Sir Jim Ratcliffe is maxing himself out. You know what I mean? When you max out a credit card and then you get another, you're maxing yourself out to be able to get this.
That's not sound financial advice, but by the way, guys, no, max out a credit card, get another one.
Exactly, but that's basically what he's doing. It seems like, you know what I mean? I'm not going to act like he's broke, because let's not get. He's a billionaire. He's pretty rich, isn't he? He's not like this thing of like he don't have no peas. I don't buy into that. Of course he has money. Of course he has a lot of money. This is just how he chooses to spend his money. But obviously he can't compete with the Qataris in terms of pots of money, who has a deeper pot of money. But my concern is that he's maxing himself out to not even own 100% of the club.
Not remove the debt.
And not remove the debt, and not even talk about how we move forward of what the actual one reason is. We want the Glazers gone because they're leeches, but let's not forget the other side of it, that we actually need to rebuild our football club again.
Is that one thing then? We were talking about what he could say. Let's say he is successful, and let's say the Glazers do stick around. Is that one thing that he can nip in the bud and comment on early? We said that he can't exactly come in and say, oh yeah, sorry, the Glazers sticking around. It's what I had to do, deal with the devil, blah blah blah. But that is one thing that is one thing that he can say, isn't it? Of here's my plan for the stadium, here's my plan for the training ground, here's my, at least have some form of manifesto. The only problem is that any manifesto he puts out there, people will point to that first one he did and go, they said, well, you said this last time.
Yeah.
So
his problem will be, and again, this is more of a conversation for as and when, right? Cross the bridge when it comes to it. But his thing will have to be action. That's the only thing. That's the only thing that could win round fans. Let's face it, because you don't want it to carry on being toxic, because we want an environment where, we're happy with our football club. But whilst the Glazers are there, we're never going to be happy. We're never going to be happy. The only way Sir Jim Ratcliffe can begin to unpick that is him showing us that, again, it won't be in the first year. It'll be the first few years of it. There's 3 years gone by. Well, they've started. Here's the plans for what the new training ground looks like. Here's all what it looks like. They've started building it. Since he's been here, we've had 3 summers. Every summer we've had money, to be fair to him. In January we've had money, to be fair to him. Erik ten Hag's been given exactly what he needs. That's been really good. And here's, like you said, here's what's going to happen in terms of the money for the stadium. Here's what it looks like, actually. These are the people that have been tasked to draw it up. A decision has been made. It's not a renovation. It's a new stadium. A decision has been made. It's not a new stadium. It's a renovation. We're going to build on top of the Bobby Charlton stand. Oh, this is what it's going to look like. Building starts then. Action. Action is the only way. Only way.
What do you feel? I was having a vision flex. Yeah. I'm like Raven Simone in That's So Raven. I was having a vision. I was trying to picture what that first home game would look like. Let's say it is all completed and done. He's got the keys before the first game of the season, right? It's been a bit sort of delayed. Maybe we haven't done the transfer business that we want to, but first game of next season, home game, Sir Jim Ratcliffe's the new owner. Do you think there would be what do you think the atmosphere would be like at Old Trafford? Like, do you think? I just can't envisage there being this like feeling of, oh yeah, this is like a new era. This is like a fresh start, because it would still be like, it would almost be this bit of like ambiguity, wouldn't it? I almost look around and be like, I'm not really sure what's going on. You know what I mean?
Do you know what it'd be? Yeah. Whilst there would be a new man with new ideas. Well, you would hope. You would hope
like a bit like when you get like a new manager. We've had new managers, and they sort of look around. You go, well, it is kind of, it's a new era to an extent, but still kind of the same. You know what I mean?
Exactly. There'd be a new man with new ideas. You'd hope, but we'd just be singing the same thing. We want Glazers out, so we want Glazers out. That nobody would budge from that until they're gone. That's how this works. Like you said, not Glazers a little bit out, not the hokey-cokey, I think you said, not partially out. We want them gone from our club forever in its entirety. All of them gone. Nothing to do with the football club. So whilst a new guy would come in, and the next conversation could be, well, is it fair to boo the new guy? Let's see him out. Let's see what happens in the first, instead of singing Ratcliffe out and going in on him, let's at least see. Let's see. I don't mind that bit of it, but everybody would see him as a facilitator for the Glazers at the beginning stages. And the only way football fans, obviously, football fans always get called fickle, and when results go good or new players arrive and all of that stuff. That's what I mean about action. The only way Sir Jim Ratcliffe can make everybody go, do you know what? I know the Glazers are still here, but it is like they're not here. I mean, look at the decisions being made. Wow. I mean, we're getting the right players. Look at the dedication and the investment into the new stadium. Look at the new training ground proposal. It's all never thought that would happen, but that's not going to happen in year one.
No,
that's barely going to happen in the year.
That's
two.
what I mean.
That's going to take ages. No, man's just saying wake up, Flex. No, I think you're misunderstanding what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that's the only way that Sir Jim Ratcliffe could even undo the hostility that would still remain if the Glazers stay here. That's
my point. I'm trying to, look at the first home game of next season, and then, when just something does feel fresh and new, and you do go, yeah, this feels like a big moment. This is a new era.
This doesn't happen.
It would, like I said, it'd be ambiguous because you'd be like, well, technically it is, but at the same time, it's kind of not. It would be a bit of both. That's kind of what I'd feel about it. I don't know.
And that's the thing. You are potato cam right now, I believe.
I told you this was.
Yeah. Well, we are at the end of the show anyway, so it's fine. I think it's coming back on now. Yeah, you're good. Like Lil Yo-Yo says, I'm talking in hindsight. If it happens, because if it does happen. And this is the harsh thing about it. This is the thing that's annoying. We'll all have to sit here, guys, on this very channel, on this very platform, and others, and talk about, oh, well, Jim Ratcliffe's the new owner. How do we feel? What's going to happen now? And then that's where the bit of what Marcel was saying will, even though we don't like it, will come into effect. Well, the Glazers don't have full control. Let's see. We don't think anything's going to change. Let's see. And we're going to be pissed. Until such time as new evidence is presented to us that we shouldn't be pissed anymore. Because we have every right, and I think we should and will not be inspired by what's about to happen. If that does happen. We've got every right not to feel inspired. And at the beginning of it, we will all feel quite down. I'm sure we will. I say we'll all. A couple of people will be like what Marcel was saying and Cabs was saying earlier. Some people will be like, listen, there's nothing we can do now. It's done. Let's see what this Jim Ratcliffe guy does. Let's see. But most of us, the majority of us will be like, F that. What is this? This is not a new start. The Glazers are not gone. So it's going to be interesting to say the least. Why would you trust him? Loud supporter of Brexit, then moved production of his car brand to France. Look, I'm not getting into who he supports politically. I'm just going to go into. Thank you for the super chat, by the way, Imran. That's your opinion. So big up to you. But I'm not going to get into the politics of it. I'm just going to go into why I think he's bad for the football club in terms of what his bid is, what his actual bid is. And Dan says. Our club being bought on debt for a second time is an absolute joke. Thought the Premier League put in parameters to stop this. I have a bad feeling about this. He snaked the whole United fan base from minute one. Exactly. Guys, we've come to the end of the show. Smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel.
Also, I don't know if you can hear me. Virgin Media is a disgrace and a cheat.
I thought that probably.
I'm glad I made it through the show, but I tell you what, guys, it was touch and go from the start this morning. It really was. It really, really was. And you don't even know the journey I've had with Virgin Media recently. And you might be looking at me through saying it in potato glass. Yeah, through frosted glass. You might see me, but Virgin Media, I'm coming for you, okay? They were sending me emails at 4 o'clock in the morning. Your service fixed. It's fixed. Look at me. Oh, look at the blur. That is me. Ah.
Wait there.
What? Now Flex has disappeared. I don't know what Flex is doing.
No, I'm here. I just wanted it to be all you. Wait.
Okay then. Yeah, Virgin Media. This is a disgrace as well. Look, Virgin Media, you're a disgrace. You're a cheat. This blur that is me right now is talking to you. The illusion that is Owen, the ghost that is Owen, is I'm coming for you, okay? And you can come here, you can whisper nice things into my ears. Oh, we'll fix it next time. Nothing for like 4 or 5 days. Nothing. And then this morning, we're fixing issues in your area. Are you bulls? Get out of here.
Sorry, man, but it's just funny. To let you guys know as well, to finish off the show, we're back flexing KG FIFA at an earlier time today, actually, at 12 o'clock. We're going to do it a little bit earlier. I wanted to carry on. I don't like losing or not winning, as you know, as you can see. So I've called it in. We're going in earlier. We've got a lot to sort out. We just can't go up the table. We put it up one. We need to go back down a level as well. As soon as we put it up, it's too hard. It's way too hard. Whoever told us, see, you lot was like, I'll put the level up. It's too easy. No. As soon as we've done that, we're getting absolutely smashed. So probably have to put the level back. Owen using a Super Nintendo camera settings.
It's just a disgrace, isn't it?
Potato view. It is a disgrace.
I'm glad I made it through though. I didn't think that was going to be.
You done well.
Because I said to Flex before we started, I went, I can't really hear you. I haven't actually been able to really hear Flex throughout the entirety of this show. So
done well.
I hope the conversation we've had makes sense.
I'll talk shit anyway. You don't need to.
I was guessing.
Don't worry. I'm a waffler. Don't worry. And Flex and KG show tonight at 6 p.m. as well. So you're getting a double dose for a couple of hours on FIFA plus another hour in the evening as well. So 3 hours of Flex and KG today as well. So big up to you guys. Smash the like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. See you in a few hours. Peace.